All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Oscar De La Hoya says that Errol Spence Jr. is too strong for Terence Crawford, and Errol Spence Jr. is the top guy in the welterweight division. I'm going to break it down to y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please share that you like and subscribe to the channel, and also share the video to get all your latest boxing news. With that being said, Oscar De La Hoya recently was in an interview and stuff like that, talking, actually giving a lot credit to Errol Spence Jr. How well, at first he was giving credit to Terence Crawford on how Terence Crawford, well, he was leaning towards Terence Crawford to beat Errol Spence Jr. And he looked at the fight between Ugas and Spence, and he's like, oh man, this guy Spence, he's I'm just emphasizing, this guy Spence is going to be serious, and I think he's going to beat Crawford's pretty bad, And Oscar, Errol Spence Jr., he feels like that Errol Spence Jr. is the bigger and stronger guy. And he is at the top of the welterweight division right now. And I totally agree with Oscar De La Hoya. We know that Oscar De La Hoya is having some legal issues right now with certain females and stuff like that, but I ain't gonna get into that. But Oscar De La Hoya was giving a lot of credit to Errol Spence Jr. that he's one hell of a fighter. He's very good. He's top at the welterweight division. But he was in that interview. Well, if you guys want to check out the interview, I believe it's on Pheno Boxing, whatever. Not Oscar De La Hoya. He's another guy that's all over the internet. You can just find a video. Oscar De La Hoya talks about Errol Spence Jr. And Oscar, he was giving Errol Spence Jr. his credit. He feels like that Terence Crawford could be in for a long night against Errol Spence Jr., even though he was going to pick Terence Crawford. And he's seen the amazing performance that Errol Spence Jr. has put on, and the beatdown that he gave Eugenio Ugas was impressive to Oscar. And even though Oscar, he's like a con man sometimes, he have to throw Virgil Ortiz in the mix. Like, he would love to see that fight with Virgil Ortiz and Errol Spence Jr. And Errol Spence Jr. is like, how about not? Because I don't want that fight. I want to fight nothing but the best of the best. Well, he does want to fight the best. I'm backtracking, guys. He wants to fight the big fight within Terence Crawford. He knows that the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, and the fans want to see the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. And Oscar De La Hoya, back then, he was one of the biggest names as well. He fought everybody. He fought every big name that it came to. Even though he lost, even though he got stopped by Manny Pacquiao, even though he lost to Floyd Mayweather and stuff like that, Oscar De La Hoya was willing to get in the ring with anybody, and he was one hell of a fighter. And I don't know what Oscar is doing outside the sport of boxing. That's crazy, but I had to acknowledge this from Oscar De La Hoya, giving the praise to Errol Spence Jr. in a recent interview on YouTube and stuff like that. And Oscar, you say he's going to beat Bud. Oscar says Errol is going to beat him. I think he's going to beat him pretty bad. And I don't think Errol he might beat him bad. I don't think Errol's going to severely beat him like he did you guys, but I could see Errol beating Bud pretty bad. Don't be surprised if Errol breaks Terence Crawford order bone. I wouldn't be surprised myself. I'm just ready to see this fight. This fight is pretty big, and I'm just ready for this fight to happen. And yeah, at the end of the day, Oscar De La Hoya, he's going lean towards Errol Spence Jr. He's the bigger, stronger guy. He has won the he feel like he's dedicated himself to the sport of boxing, and he's at the top right now in the welterweight division. And a lot of people is putting Errol Spence Jr. in that number one position for pound. They're putting Terence Crawford under Errol Spence Jr. Now, I don't know about that. I feel like Errol Spence Jr. deserved to be pound for pound, but he needs to fight Terence Crawford, which he is going to fight Terence Crawford. You beat Terence Crawford, there is no doubt that Errol Spence Jr. is the number one pound for pound guy fighter in the world, even over Canelo Alvarez, which one is my favorite fighters as well, but he'll be over everybody. With that being said, guys, Oscar De La Hoya says that Errol Spence Jr. is going to beat Bud up. He feels like Errol Spence Jr. is the bigger and stronger guy. And he feels like that Errol Spence Jr. is at his peak and one of the best welterweights in the welterweight division. So, with that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.